Hello, and welcome back to another episode of In Search of Self-Mastery with Dario Gutiasco. Today, I want to ask you this question. Are you going through a phase where you feel like you are struggling alone, feeling isolated, and not receiving any help? Brother, let me tell you that you are not alone. In fact, that is a big problem we men have, and that is exactly what I want to talk to you about today. The importance of building a strong brotherhood or support group among men. Just think about it. If you don't have a solid brotherhood, how do you expect to stand firm when life hits you? Again, if you feel lonely, isolated, without a network of men to support you and push you to be better, then it's time to change that. Stay, because I am going to teach you how to surround yourself with a community of strong men who will lift you up in difficult times and help you move forward with strength. To make something very clear from the start, not everyone wants or feels that they need the support of someone else. On the contrary, you feel that you don't need anyone's help and that you can achieve things on your own. And I no longer agree with you, but the reality is that we always need the help of others to achieve our goals. Rather, and I speak from my own personal experience, what goes through your mind is not to do it alone, but rather that you don't want people who get in the way, right? You are tired of them coming in and being a hindrance and being useless when it comes to getting things done. Anyone wants help, obviously help and support, but the most likely thing, and you have already realized this, is that not just anyone is help or can help you. And here comes another super important point, which is humility, meaning that you know and have the awareness of your own limitations and weaknesses, and you recognize that you cannot do everything on your own. If you continue to face your battles alone, you are setting yourself up for failure. Surely many of the frustrations you have experienced up to now come from that, right? The truth is that a man without a solid support network is increasingly weak, more exposed, and will eventually fail. It is super important to be self-sufficient, but there are times when others can take on part of the responsibility of having other men, other people by your side, to push you forward when things get tough. When you can't, it means we have to be very picky about the kind of people we surround ourselves with and allow into our lives. Let's start with this. Point number 1. Loneliness weakens your mental and emotional strength. At this point, I am a bit divided because loneliness also gives you a lot of mental and emotional strength. From my point of view, learning to be in solitude has helped me a lot, but what is also important is having a brotherhood of men who share your values and goals and who provide you with the necessary strength, inspiration, or motivation to overcome challenges. Note that they don't need to share and do the same things, but rather to know that others are doing things for themselves and inspire you to move forward and achieve what you want. And that reminds you that you are not alone in this struggle. When you surround yourself with that kind of men, you do not allow yourself to fall into self-pity or mediocrity. A circle of brotherhood that thinks like you, seeks to grow, and supports you when you fall, is what gives you the necessary push to move forward. And just in case you haven't noticed, the kind of messages I'm sharing are to help you stay strong in whatever you're struggling with and to lift you up when no one else believes in you. Because I believe in you. Returning to the point, loneliness and isolation make you more vulnerable to failures, weaken you mentally, and push you to give up more easily. Here I might be contradicting myself a bit because I just said a moment ago that loneliness can help you with that, right? That is true. As long as you have the strength and perhaps the methods to confront the negative aspects of the mind, such as battling your fears, self-criticism, feeling less than others, feeling that you are not enough, etc. And if you are alone, trying to face those problems on your own, and you don't know what to do, or how to deal with it, or how to overcome it, you are definitely sabotaging yourself and limiting yourself. No matter how strong you think you are, that kind of loneliness and negative thoughts wear you down, and sooner or later, you will break. You will fall into depression, into nihilism, meaning you will start to believe that life has no meaning at all, and you will begin to stop doing things that are important to move forward. You will let your excuses start to dominate you, and without someone to push you out of that zone, you will never reach your full potential. And forget about your potential, you won't even be able to return to normalcy. Point number 2. Great men have always had mentors, or have followed people they admire, whether those are people who are alive, who were close to them, or those who found someone who taught them and showed them the way to head towards where they truly wanted to go. 2009. Once again, surrounding yourself with a brotherhood of strong men creates an environment of growth and responsibility. This forces you to improve because you see how others are constantly progressing. and they demand the best from yourself. And keep in mind, even if they don't directly demand it from you, like, hey, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing what you know you should be doing? You have more potential within you, etc. Just seeing them and being close to them will make you feel uncomfortable that you are not doing the same, and you will feel like you are letting them down, and therefore they will kick you out of the group, meaning they will reject you. The men who build empires, who stand out, do so because they have the right people by their side, people who challenge them to be better. True brotherhood, or this type of brotherhood or social circle, is not a community. It is a constant challenge. The idea is not only to belong, but to maintain and continuously grow, because if you do it in the same way, you will start to influence other people, the same people in your group, and even new members who may see you as a role model. The idea is to surround yourself with people, in this case men, who do not let you fall, but also do not allow you to be mediocre. If you don't have other men pushing you to improve, you will be stuck in mediocrity, surrounded by people who neither challenge nor demand anything from you. And be aware, this can start from your own family, people close to you, it can even be your partner. And if you ask me, that is one of the worst things that can happen to you, because it seems to be disguised as help, but it is not. In fact, if you do not have a brotherhood like the one we are talking about to support you, you will fall into the trap of surrounding yourself with people who make you feel comfortable but do not push you to be better. Does it sound familiar to you? Those friends or people who say, "Don't worry, it's fine, we'll do it tomorrow." But the reality is that comfort will cause you to stagnate. And the problem with all those people, and you could be the negative person in someone else's life, is that if you don't have someone to call you out when you're doing something wrong, when you're failing, you are destined to keep making the same mistakes and become a failure. Point number 3. A brotherhood like the one we are talking about makes you stronger, because it makes you more responsible. Establishing this type of relationship with other people, in this case other high-level men, gives you that level of responsibility, or increases it, and forces you to stay firm in your decisions, your standards, and your actions. This means that when you have a group of men who trust you and push you to be better, you rise to the level of their expectations. And for obvious reasons, you raise the same expectations of others at the same time. It's not about them supporting you or giving you things, but about them demanding from you. If they are your true friends or claim to be a brotherhood, they will not let you fall into complacency or weakness. You know that if you relax, they will be there to remind you that you cannot afford to be less than what you can be. And just think about it for a moment. Isn't that what you've been dreaming of all along? Being in an environment where you are not allowed to be lazy, do things halfway, and waste time, but rather the opposite. What we want, and I too, is to be surrounded by people who are winning and who push us to win as well. And also, if you do not obtain that responsibility, whether by yourself or through the external group, you will become weaker. If you don't have someone to keep you in line, you will easily allow yourself to fail without even trying. In other words, you will give up at the slightest inconvenience. And once again, you will either stay the same or become weaker because you will have no one to demand more from you, to demand that you be better. Every day you will tell yourself that it is okay to be less than you can be, and that is what destroys men. And let me ask you, do you want to continue being this way, living and getting the same results you have so far? I don't believe it. If you continue to face life alone, you are depriving yourself of one of the greatest strengths a man can have, a supportive brotherhood. True greatness and great achievements are not built in solitude. It is forged through a community of men or people who challenge you, support you, and push you to be better. Are you going to remain isolated thinking that you can do everything on your own? Or are you going to reach out to those who will elevate you to a higher level and whom you know you have the potential to be with? And by the way, if you want to join my community, where I push you to do your best at the highest level, just click the link below to get started. Remember, you are only one decision away from changing your life. See you next time.